Hey everyone, my name is David Rao and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, a variety of places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter. Tonight I'm going to be talking about kind of out of sequence or out of the ordinary lessons, like those times where you have to teach a lesson to a grade or a class or something and it's off of your normal rotation. So you're like, do I teach just like a random lesson? Do I do an extension of something I've already done? Because like, what do you do in those times where you're like, well, I've sequenced it because I have to teach to all the classes, but I don't want to teach something new that I'm not going to teach to other kids, so you don't remember. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I had to do today and what I used to make that work, to give you just a few more ideas in case you want to or you're facing something like that yourself. So it's sort of an out of sequence of your normal lesson plans lesson. How can you fill in that space? That's coming up. If you hear me talk about a resource, a book, a thing that you really like, I link it all on one page on my blog under the videos tab. You can click there to find it, or you can just click at the bottom of the link wherever you're watching, listen to this, and you should be able to find that. A couple quick things. If you want to see me in person and not just through a computer screen or your phone or whatever, I'm doing workshops. One this Saturday, April 26th in Forney, Texas. It's a free workshop. You just have to go and sign up for it. So you can do that on the links page if you want, or you can just, you can actually go to my Facebook and find it there too. Also this summer, I'm teaching levels in a couple places through the summer for Orff Schulwerk levels. I'm teaching level 1, Orlando, and I'm also teaching level 2 in St. Louis. And if you want to come to either of those, that'd be cool. But if you're like, but I live in that area and I want to take one of the other levels, well, I know there are openings right now in level 2 in Orlando for the Central Florida Orff chapter. Come and join us there. It's going to be a super great time. And you could take level 2 with the amazing Billy Ferguson, or if you want to take level 1, you're around St. Louis, come and join us there. You can take level 1 with Jason Glasshauser, who's brilliant and wonderful, and have some amazing movement and recorder teachers. And I'm going to be there and doing other stuff too. So come and join us for either one of those levels. It's going to be a really good time. Okay, enough talking about that stuff. Let's talk about these out of cycle lessons. So if you have never taught elementary music before, what are you doing on this channel? But if you have, probably you've had this instance where, maybe you have 3 first grade classes and there's just a random day where you see one class more than another and you have to like fill in a lesson or come up with something new or repeat something you've already done. You have to make that determination. What are you going to do with those like lessons that are out of the normal cycle? And so that's what happened to me today. We had a day that today was supposed to be a day off, but then we had so many snow days, the district took back this day and was like, no, we're having school that day. So instead of like shifting everything over and moving everything over, our special schedule is kind of set for the year. And so instead of like moving a day 2 over to today and then moving everything behind it, we just decided to do sort of a random kind of a day. We call it the special smorgasbord. And it's like a day where we made things up. And so what happened was, of my 6th grades, K through 5, I did not see 5th grade, I did not see K. Those were my plan moments or just time off because we have enough specials that we were able to rotate in and out. And so I didn't see either of those, but I did see 4th grade, 3rd grade, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. So what did I do for those classes? Well, the way we rotated in today, we had, so like say you're 4th grade. We had 3 different things happen. You showed up at the gym, we did a little lap or whatever, we talked about what was going to happen, we separated out, and then we had rotations. So they were in the music room for 15 minutes. For 4th graders, one set for 15 minutes, then they moved to the library, and then they did something there for 15 minutes, they moved to the gym, they did something there for 15 minutes. Or maybe it was the art room, maybe it was the STEM room, depending on what hour it was. But that was the basic idea, is that I would have a rotation of 15 minutes for each class. This feels like an episode of Chopped because it's like, okay, you only see kids for 15 minutes. You're going to see them in odd groupings. In some grades, we only have 3 sections, and in some we have 4. So in the grades with 4 sections, it was like I got a class plus 7 extra random kids from a class that we like separated out to make it work. Oh, and they were going to be coming with iPads. This felt like an episode of Chopped. I was like, what can I do in 15 minutes that is curricular that they will enjoy on this? Like, they had a long weekend because they had Friday off. We had a PD day, but they had Friday off. And probably hyped up, maybe like kind of hungover from Easter candy, Easter weekend. What can I do on this day that is not going to have me ripping out my hair. What's left of my hair. Okay, so I was like, well, okay, what can I do? So my first thing was fourth grade, and I was like, I know we are in a recorder unit. I don't want them to all break out recorders because that would be mayhem, and 15 minutes isn't really enough time to get them out and take them back, and they actually are taking them back and forth to home, so I don't want to like have them bring them down, lose them in the art room, whatever. But I knew they were coming with their iPads, and I was like, great. So I have a game that they can play. It's a QR game. They just scan a QR code and they go play it online. That is Treble Clef Note Names. And so it'll help to reinforce what they're doing. It's actually Easter themed. Oh my gosh, perfect. And then I was like, but that's not quite enough. I also wanted them to work on 16th notes. We hadn't really been doing a lot of that. So, because we were doing recorder stuff, right? And so you don't really play 16th notes on recorder, at least not in your first year. And so I was like, what am I going to do? So let me show you the two games that I did with them. So the first one, not that one, different grade. So that's one. Okay, one is called Easter Eggs Notes of the Treble Clef, and one is called Superfood Rhythm Challenge. Both of these I linked all my interactive games on the links page, and I'll also link the Easter one specifically. So let me show you one of these games. So it's really easy. All they have to do is just open up their iPad, scan with the camera, and it pulls open the game. So let me see if I can show you both of these. So in 15 minutes, it was easy enough to show them how it worked and then to have them pull them up and play the games. So the first one, the screen comes up, and what they have to do is they have to tap one, and at first it's just one note name, and it goes through and they read the note on the staff and figure out which one it is. If they can figure it out correctly, they get a little Easter egg. That is a little loud right in my ear. Okay, I don't know if you can hear the little magical sound, but it was magical, but it was very loud magical in my ear. And they get another challenge. Let's do another one. Hello, it's like, it's trying to connect to my home Wi-Fi. Okay, FAC, which note is this? So now it's space notes, so line notes and space notes. Is it more than what they're using in Recorder right now? Yes, but is it good practice? Yes. Let me go back to the main screen. You could also do something where it is, where it's a line on the staff and they have to then choose the note name that matches. So kind of it gives them the letter name. They have to choose where it goes in the staff. Kind of the reverse of what they did before. Same thing before. If they get it right, they get an egg. If they don't, they get this little gross little bird thing. Let's see if I can move on. There are other games, different versions of this. There's also like where they get like a word on the staff and then they have to figure out which one is right. So this kept them pretty busy. It was a pretty good one. Let's see. The other one was the 16th notes. So this, at first they can either do one food, two foods, or themed foods. And the themed foods is going to have 4 foods in a row. So one food is easy where they just got to figure out like, is it a 16th note? Is it an 8th note? Is it something else? That's a really easy one. But then these trickier ones, there's junk food version, there's a veggie version, a fruit version, a barbecue version. And so what they do is they have 4 foods in a row: Frappuccino, donut, pie. And they have to figure out which rhythm matches of the 3 options down here. If they get it right, they move on. If they don't, they don't. And there's a little progress bar on the top. So let's get the right one. Hooray, they did good and they got progress. They get to move on. So this was just something I did with 4th grade as a little bit of a practice for them to explore and try. And they did really, honestly, very well. And in 15 minutes was like perfect. If they finished one game, they did great. If they didn't, they moved on to another. It was pretty simple and pretty easy. Okay. 3rd grade came in. What was 3rd grade doing? Well, some of them had done 16th notes in the current rotation, but some had not. So I was like, well, I don't want to really reinforce that. Okay, we could do rhythms. We could do maybe something else. What could we do? Or we could try Chrome Music Lab. So I have a QR code that Chrome Music Lab is free, but I have a QR code that I like printed out and downloaded that was easy for them. And so Chrome Music Lab, let me pull that up and show you how I did, or what we did with that. With this one, it was kind of simple because Chrome Music Lab kids just love to play around. So all I did was I said, there are so many options here in Chrome Music Lab, I'm just going to show you 4. So I went through 4 different ones. I think I did the Song Maker, I did the Shared Piano. I'll tell you what I did, it was a mistake there. I did the little rhythm animals. and I did the piano roll. I just went through and I played and I showed them on the overhead what I was doing as I was doing it. They liked it. They got to try it on their own. There are so many options here. I could keep them active for 30 minutes, not just 15. And if it were 45 minutes, what I would do is I would give them time to explore. I'd show them a little bit more in depth. I'd give them time to explore, and then I'd have them shared with the class at the end of class. So this is a pretty easy one where they can explore and create and make their own stuff, and they love to share what they've come up with at the end if they can. Now, the one thing I did is a mistake. Maybe a mistake, maybe not a mistake. I showed them on the shared piano. If you go to the shared piano, you can create a piano and you sit and play, right? And it makes a sound. I don't know if you can hear that because it's kind of quiet. Right? And you play on the piano, it makes a sound. You can change the piano sound from a piano to a drum machine or a synth or marimba or whatever. But if you give a friend a code and they show up and follow the link and go to that code, more than one person can be on this piano at a time. You can have multiple people playing. And I showed them if you hit the little share-o, this box with an arrow in it, and you hit airdrop, guess what? You can airdrop it to other people who have their airdrop on. Okay, so we had pianos dropping all around the class. It was actually hilarious and fun. I feel a little bit bad when they went back to their classroom and are probably continuing to do this. But then also those third grade teachers have like sent down kids to us and we're like, well, we just had our like cupcake and Alani and coffee and whatever party. Sorry, they're going to be a little excited today. Have fun. Like they've always done. So I'm like, payback. But anyway, Chrome Music Lab was another like super, super successful. Could I have done one of my QR games instead? Sure. And there are a lot of things we could have done. We could have done one of the rhythm versions. We could have done instruments of the orchestra. In fact, I actually had on the board as an option in case they got bored with Chrome Music Lab, I had collect the Easter eggs with the instrument version. And this was, they just go through and they scan the QR and they get to like decide, is this instrument the strings, the woodwinds, or brass or percussion? They get to go through it and play the game and try that. That's what I did with kids. I tried Chrome Music Lab, but I also had a backup option. Okay, both of those grade things, you could absolutely do more, do less. It kind of depends on what you want to do. But it kept them engaged for long enough. In fact, a lot of them were like, that was not enough time. I was like, I know, but next time, but it also makes me think like I could leave the stuff for a sub. I could, if I was going to leave it for a sub, maybe I would record myself first and make a video of like, here's how you go through and try it. Here's how you go through and do whatever, and then leave that for the sub. I think that's absolutely doable, but it kind of just depends on what you want to do. But it showed me that like these games work really well. They enjoy them. They like them. I have them as a backup. I also sometimes, if I think far enough ahead, I'll tell the teacher to say, bring your iPad and we'll learn something in class and practice it on the iPad game later. It just depends on if I remember to tell the teacher to bring the iPads. But the iPad games are really fun. Kids really enjoy them. They're great for reinforcement. And yes, there are some kids who just like tap through until they get the right answer, but those kids they're doing it with all sorts of things anyway. Those are the kids who like try and skip to the end anyway. But what I found with these games is so many more kids are actually interfacing with the material than I ever expected to, which is amazing. So it was fun to try and explore with that. Okay, so I had basically the same idea as what I was going to do with first grade and second grade. I was just going to level it down. So instead of doing like notes of the treble clef or 16th notes, I was going to go with more basic games, maybe instrument sorting, maybe other things, sort of depends on that. But guess what? First grade came down and none of them had iPads in their hand. And I was like, didn't we say bring your iPads? And they're like, the teachers are like, oh no, you did. Should we go back? And I was like, no, and we'll make it work. So instead, what I did with my first graders was they walked in and I was like, you guys are acting kind of crazy. It looks like a zoo in the gym. When I looked in, I was like, man, they look like a zoo. That makes me think I got a song about that. And way, way, way back in the day, a very old song is this song called Animal Action. It's on an album called Kids in Motion by Greg and Steve. Greg and Steve have been around a long time. This album was released a very long time. In fact, when I student taught, my cooperating teacher was like, I've got this one on vinyl. And I was like, not like re-released on vinyl, like you have the original vinyl. Anyway, so Greg and Steve have all these super fun songs for kids. This one's a little old, but the younger kids don't care if it sounds dated at all because they don't know. And so Animal action is fun, where it's like an A-B form. On the A part, they get to dance however they want. On the B part, it says, look like a, and it's, gives them a cheetah, look like a monkey, look like an elephant, and whatever they do, they have to dance and move like that thing. I could not find it on Spotify. I could not find it on the West Music website. It is that old. However, I did find a YouTube video from Greg and Steve's, must have been a VHS way back in the day, explaining how to do this song and dance. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. There is 80s, leg warmer leotard, brightly colored lady in this outfit, leading the class. There are all these kids in period costumes, even not period costumes, 80s, where I was born in the 80s. So I'm going to say period costumes because it makes me feel as old as I am. Anyway, so it's this actual video from their demo VHS from way back in the day. Hilarious. I posted it on the links page if you want to go see it. But the song is really fun. There's also an Animal Action 1, Animal Action 2. You may already have that album in your storage closet, maybe on vinyl, who knows. But it's a great CD, Kids in Motion. There are a bunch of other songs in there too, but Animal Action I pull out all the time. So my kids would dance, act like an animal, dance, act like an animal. And then after that happened, that was 4 or 5 minutes, I said, something very exciting is happening this week, the book fair. And oh my gosh, have I got an exciting moment for you. I've got 2 books, and I'm going to let you decide which one we read. They all chose the same one, actually, which is hilarious. It was very close, but they all chose the same one. You could decide which one we read. I don't know if they're at the new book fair. You're going to have to go and find out. But they came from the last book fair, so they might be there. Okay, so one is called Heart Takes the Lead. I talked about this on my Instagram stories, I don't know, many weeks ago, but I'll show you in just a second. The other one is There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Rainbow. How many of these books are they going to make? She's just out there gobbling down, any old, there's any old theme you want, go to the farm, go to the ocean, go to the space, anywhere. She'll just, whatever. This one, she makes, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let you go find out for yourself. No spoilers, no spoilers. Okay, Heart Takes the Lead. This is a hilarious little book about how your heart and your brain sometimes disagree, and it's kind of stereotypical things like, what does your heart do? Your heart's impulsive, excited, emotional. What does your head do? It's thoughtful, makes lists, it contemplates, it thinks. And how do they interact? Well, they don't always get along. Sometimes they get along. And in this story, the real crisis of the story, they, live together, coexist. The real crisis of the story comes when one day Heart finds out he can buy an instrument and learn to play an instrument, and gets really excited, and Brain is like, no, we'll look dumb. People make fun of us. We can't do it. Heart decides not to do it. Brain is right, doesn't. Heart breaks. And eventually, Brain is so sad, realizing the heart is so sad, that he goes, okay, fine. We could be laughed at. We'll probably be terrible. Never gonna be any good. And then gets real honest and is like, I'm kind of scared about it. And Heart's like, I got you. We're gonna make it work. And then they do buy the trumpet. They learn. They get together. It's a sweet, sweet, sweet story about taking risks and trying new things. Follow your heart, but use your brain. Work together, and also very, very musical. So both of these were at the last book fair. I legitimately don't know if they're at the current book fair, but kids can go look. So it's on theme with the school. It's one of those books that, as I was thinking, as the kids were rolling in, I was like, oh no, none of them have their iPads. What am I going to do instead? I was like, I could do a song from our recent concert. But I feel like I've done those 85 million times. I don't want to do that again. And then I was like, you have that whole shelf of books that you don't always get to all of them every year. So just pull 2 out and read a couple. So that's what I decided to do. And those were 2 great books, and ties in with the book fair happening this week. Okay, and then second grade. With second grade, I was like, what am I going to do with second grade? They really need to work on rhythms, and I really want it because in their classroom, I know that they're talking about syllabification. That's a big push in second grade. And so I did the game where they got to figure out words and decide how there's, how they match with rhythms. Is it toddy, 2 sets of 8th notes? Is it a quarter note and 2 sets of 8th notes? 2 8th notes and a quarter? It's basically the game where they get to go through and play. Let me see if I've got that one linked up here. It's like the game I showed a little bit earlier, except sans 16th notes. Yeah, so Beat the Bunny, what they have to do is they go through, they find a word, and I just show them one. Easter bunny. Is that toddy toddy? Is it ta ta, or is it ta toddy? And if they get the wrong one, gives them a little squishy bird. It doesn't, oh no, this one goes, oh no, sorry, this is not a squishy bird. It gives them an oh no page and they get to try again. Toddy toddy is the correct answer, and it takes them to a hooray next challenge, and they get to keep going. So it's all Easter themed, all different stuff, but it's all words that are pretty simple for them to do. I saw a lot of kids, like Easter bunny, those things that I know that they do in their classroom to figure out the syllables of a word. I saw kids also like put their hands on the chin and go Easter bunny, which is another tactic that they use to syllabify. Well, like if they can feel their chin go down, that means a syllable. Easter bunny. So they got to syllabify. The other thing was we had just finished out talking about the brass family. And so I gave them this game where they get to go through and decide which instrument is which. It's the four corners game. There are four possible answers. If they think that something's in the wrong family and they choose the wrong one, it gives them a little no. And if they get the right one, they get this harp sound that was like ringing all across the music room. And they get to go on. There are a bunch of instruments with a bunch of challenges. Some they've maybe heard of, some they probably have not. Like a sitar. We've never heard of that one. A bugle. I bet they haven't seen that one before, but they can use their skills and try and figure out. And they actually really were interfacing with this really well, and we're very excited about it. You're in 15 minutes, that's barely enough time to get through these games if they're Zooming. I still had kids who finished early. And so I pulled one of my other musical instrument games and was like, try this one. If you get through, try it. And it's another one where it's just identifying instruments by their families. It's just a different version of it. It's something I did with my older kids. But for those high flyers, they got through and they did that instead. Okay, this was a lot. I put a bunch of these games and links on my links page. I also put the Greg and Steve video, which is hilarious. Please go and watch that. But these are just things that I know that I could do to not really fill time. It is filling time because it's off the rotation, and so I don't want to teach anything that's brand new in case I don't want kids to miss it, right? It is new content. It's not new content. It's a review of content in lots of different ways. It's exciting for them. They're bringing their iPads anyway, so they were excited to do that. You could do some of these QR games on like the screen and have a kid come to your computer and type in the answer. They do come up on web pages, so it's not just an iPad thing. It could be an on-screen thing, or it could be a Chromebooks thing. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. But all these games are reinforcing. I could extend them to make it longer. I could do just like one game if I needed it to be shorter. There are a lot of options with that, which is what I love on these days where it's like, oh no, we got to fill in. So I hope this gave you some ideas for what you could do with content and how you could sort of change that if you want. Next week is another new Musical Mondays video. I hope you'll join me. If you are in Texas, around the Dallas area, come and join us this Saturday in Forney, Texas for an in-person workshop. It's free thanks to West Music and Forney ISD. So come and join us this Saturday. I hope you do it. Otherwise, I'll see you next Monday. All right. Bye, everyone. And Instagram.